Hi, this is a quick follow-up video for the uh, designing IoT devices tutorial. Great. Instead of actually going with the IoT devices, I want to actually discuss the backend part of it. Now, normally, whenever you have any kind of IoT device, so it is going to be more or less transmitting information, right? Via the internet. Right. Now these protocols can be MQTT, Constrained Application Protocol, CoAP, or something like HTTP, REST services. Cool. All right. So we'll discuss these parts in another upcoming video. But right now, what I want to go through is what happens to the data when it has actually entered the internet. Where does it actually go? So you have a number of options. You need a place where you can actually store this data. So you need a storage system. There are a number of options available. Commercial options are available. Most popular ones being Amazon Web Services. All right. Then you have Microsoft's Azure, and they have something called Azure IoT, which is and then you have, of course, Google Cloud, and there's a lot of stuff there. All right, so that's the professional options for storage. All right, and then you have these services also provide some presentation layers, which can give you graphs. You can query these data streams and stuff like that. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff. What I have actually seen in the last few weeks of research is most of these services are overkill. Their free tier services are just a little too expensive. Their free services actually too expensive because they will give you a sample of whatever services they offer, like database and all that. You'll actually be spending a lot more time understanding their technology. And if you are actually a startup or something, you'll actually be hiring a software engineer to maybe use these APIs available from Azure, and then that guy is going to charge you. Then these Azure people are going to charge you. So when you're doing a prototyping, or especially when you're doing startups, these kind of things can be problematic. So what is the solution for this? All right, what is the alternative to this? And that is something that I'm going to discuss. A lot of the projects I do use something called OpenHub. It is underlying Apache Karaf server, which is basically which can run an OSGI, open source gateway interface kind of framework using Felix or Equinox. Okay, for the uninitiated, Karaf and Felix and Equinox are basically OSGI frameworks which allow you to deploy Java applications on top of it. So you can have a Java application that does say it receives data. All right, it can listen to a particular say URL, or it can actually talk to an MQTT server, subscribe to an MQTT service, and then it can take that data and dump it onto a database. So that's exactly what we want, right? Yes, that sounds actually very simple. The problem is then again you need another service that can be say a JSP service, which will fetch data from this database, right, and then it will put it on your web browser. So it depends upon what kind of things you're willing to commit to. Azure seems a little more for the oh my god, I am going to do this for the rest of my life kind of thing. For those guys who are trying to prototype and who are not really willing to commit at this point of time or in the initial phases, I really do not recommend these things. I am not a software guy. I understand a bit of software, but I'm not a dedicated software guy, so this is not for me. So what I am going to be doing is, of course, there is another option. You can use something like Glassfish, which is again an J2EE server, and then you can deploy applications. You can really scale those up, and I really appreciate Java for that. The alternative again to that, I'm giving you a lot of alternatives. The alternative to this is you pick up something in, you create something in Node.js. And the advantage of using Node.js, or even I don't recommend Python, but there are options to that. Even if you try to do this in Node.js, it's going to be a relatively simpler process, because Node.js is a language that has been it's basically JavaScript, and it was designed to be easy to learn. It has a very easy learning curve, as opposed to Java, which is like object oriented programming. You do interfaces and classes and all that kind of stuff. So this can get really hairy really fast. This requires a little bit of monetary commitment, and not my recommendation. So you can do either something if you're a software engineer, you can go into Glassfish and start deploying J2E applications, start building server-side applets which can subscribe to an MQTT service, or produce an HTTP REST service, or talk to a co-op server. There's a lot of resource available for Java. Go to iot.eclipse.org, sorry for the eclipse.org, and you can find a lot of information on these projects. So personally, I am going to be doing stuff with OpenHub. Why? Because it can talk to my SQL server, and it can talk to MQTT. So in the next video, I will be talking about setting up OpenHub 2 on your local machine, or a virtual machine, or Macintosh, or it's really not that difficult, and get it up and running as soon as possible. Get your own little cloud, local cloud running up and down, and then you can start connecting your IoT devices to this. We can also discuss the concept of Node.js as a Node.js server, and deploying services on a machine. And if you want me to go through this part, just leave me a comment, and I can actually discuss the concept in a different video. So please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.